boys and girls. So, if you guys joined me yesterday at our Google Meet, then you heard chapters 9 and 10. But if you were not able to come to the Google Meet, I'm going to record chapters 9 and 10 now, and then I will put the next two chapters on the next video. Okay, here we go. Chapter 9. In the morning when I woke up, Neo was looking at me. Biddy's eyes were still closed. So Eleanor heard you from the beginning? I asked Neo. I couldn't believe I was asking Neo this question. Neo. Yes. Biddy. She's 4. 4-year-olds always hear. Why is that? I asked. Biddy. I don't know. I'm just a dog. Biddy said that to make me smile, and I did. Biddy. I hope your grandma makes me a red coat. I'll tell her. And then I remembered. You can tell her yourself, Biddy, I said, laughing. A week later, we had a half birthday for Eleanor. She loved half birthdays almost more than full birthdays. Gran and grandfather came, and Marvelous and Mavis and Max, all the M's, Mama called them. There were balloons and a half birthday cake and candles. No Papa. He had been gone for 2 months now. Gran had knitted Eleanor a purple cape that reached the floor, and Marvelous brought her a crown with jewels. Grace. Beautiful. Thank you, said Gran, and I have a gift for you, Grace. Gran took out a blue coat and put it on Grace. Grace walked proudly around the room. She looked at herself in the full-length mirror in the dining room. Then she went to Gran and put her head in Gran's lap. Ah, you like it. She took some bright red yarn and needles out of her knitting bag. This is for you, Biddy. I'll finish it soon. Biddy stared at Grandma. Speechless, Biddy? I whispered. Eleanor heard me and laughed. And then the front door opened. The dogs, every one of them, sat up. Bryn, for the first time since at the shelter, curled her lip and showed her teeth. We turned. It was Papa. Papa, said Eleanor. No, I said loudly. Papa looked at me, but didn't say anything. I could feel my face get hot. There was a big silence except for Bryn's low growl. Bryn, hush, warned Mama. Then, as if a movie had stopped for a moment and started up again, Eleanor ran to Papa. Papa picked her up and whirled her around. Eleanor, in Papa's arm, waved her wand. The dogs lay down, all except for Bryn, who moved closer to Mama. Wow, Max spoke as softly as Mama had. Hello, Mr. Watson. Hello, Max, said Papa. There's Papa and the whole family sitting around the living room. I knew you'd come, said Eleanor, her arms around Papa's neck. Hello, Janie, said Papa. Thank you for the phone call. Thank William, said Mama. I thank you, William, said Papa. I didn't answer. I knew you'd come, repeated Eleanor. The guests had gone home, the dishes washed, the living room cleaned, balloons hung near the ceiling, moving slowly around the room like ghosts. Eleanor had gone to bed long ago. Mama stood in the kitchen doorway, leaning against the wall. Papa sat on the couch facing the 4 dogs, who watched him closely. I never had a dog, said Papa softly. He looked up at Mama and then back at the dogs. Dogs? So many dogs. They don't have anything to do with you, said Mama, her voice strong. They have everything to do with us. Mama sounded different somehow. She sounded more like the day she'd packed Eleanor and me into the car and driven off to get 4 dogs and a cat. I backed away and went to my room. No dogs followed me. I knew what they were doing. Papa knew what they were doing. I lay down on the bed without turning out the light. The dogs were there to protect Mama. I slept, and it wasn't only much later, no moon, that I reached out to touch the soft, familiar fur of Neo. Chapter 10. I woke early. I could hear the birds beginning to sing, so I knew it was just after 5:30. I turned and looked for Neo and Biddy. No dogs. No Lula. I got out of bed and wandered into the living room. Papa was on the couch, a quilt thrown over him. He wasn't asleep. He was staring at the 4 dogs as they stood morning guard in front of him. You slept here last night? I asked. Papa nodded. He pointed. She was in the bed and wouldn't leave. I nodded. Bryn, she loves Mama. She protects her from bad things. Like me? said Papa in a flat voice. I didn't answer him. Do you know if there's coffee made? I asked Papa. Do you know if there's coffee made? Asked Papa. I'll make it, I said. I learned how when you left. I walked away from Papa and stopped at the kitchen door. They won't hurt you, you know, I told him. They're very gentle. So you say, said Papa, as if he didn't believe me. When I came back with his coffee, Eleanor was perched on the couch next to Papa. She had on her pajamas and her see-through fairy wings. Lula was wearing a white onesie with Tottenham Hotspur written in red across the front. Are you flawed? She asked Papa. Eleanor, I said. I was shocked and interested at the same time. Papa laughed. Then he saw my face and was serious. Probably so, he said. Probably so, he repeated. I handed him his coffee. I have a list of bad woods, said Eleanor. Want to hear them? I'm not sure, said Papa. Eleanor listed them. 1. Fat. 2. Stupid. 3. Idiot, said Eleanor, holding up her fingers. Said Papa. I wonder if any of those have to do with me. Yes, said Eleanor happily. I thought so. He sighed. I'm sorry I went away. You came back, said Eleanor, smiling. Papa looked at me. I shrugged. I had reasons, said Papa, but I don't think they were good enough reasons. And it was very, very wrong of me not to talk to you before I went away. It was, I said. You should have called earlier. Eleanor wanted you to. Papa looked at me, quickly. I waited, but Papa didn't seem to have any more to say. Eleanor didn't care. Papa was back home. He was forgiven in Eleanor's world. But I cared, and I had not forgiven him. Papa drank his coffee. We all sat quietly. I took a look at Neo. He had told me I was brave. I care about the reasons you left, I said, my voice sounding shaky. The dogs all turned around and looked at me. Papa sighed. I owe you that, William. He lifted his shoulders and took a deep breath. I wanted to write a book, maybe some poems. I've always wanted to. I thought maybe if I went away I could do that, he said. Do we get in the way of it? I asked. Oh no, said Papa quickly, not you. I was just trying to gather some courage, he searched for the word, magic. Magic? Eleanor looked at Papa. You didn't have to go away for magic, she said. Papa smiled at her. Do you believe in magic? Asked Eleanor. I guess I've been trying to believe in it, said Papa. But I was told, I started, by a good friend, I looked at Bryn, that writing is not about magic, it's about hard work. There was a great silence in the room. Papa looked at me. His eyes were very shiny. You know, said Papa, I think you are much smarter than I am, William. Neo spoke then, his voice almost too low for me to hear. Yes. Biddy. Yes. Papa didn't hear them, but I did. Okay, chapter 11. I will put these 2 chapters up on our Google Classroom, and then I will put the next 2 chapters up on the Google Classroom. And if you would like to hear us read these together as a class, you can come to our Google Meet tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I will see you then. Bye, boys and girls.